What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video is all about the new cards coming out of Dawn of Majesty, including a brand new pendulum spell, new Chronomaly support, and many more. So enough talk, let's just get right into it. So first up, we actually have a brand new pendulum spell. It's called Pendulum Treasure. It's a normal spell, and it says, just plain and simple, add one pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck face up. So in a way, it's kind of like a Rhoda, but for pendulums. So you're adding. Ooh, excuse me. So with this, you're basically just sending a pendulum card from your deck to your extra deck face up. That's all you're doing. That's literally that's it. You could say it's a fool's burial, but in its own weird way, it kind of is. Now for the new Chronomalies. I believe we have 5 new cards. Yeah. So there are 5 new Chronomaly cards. And the first one is Chronomaly Palace Trillathon, and it's a continuous spell. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm like way too tired right now. It's a continuous spell, and both of its effects are once per turn. If you control no monsters, all monsters you control are Chronomaly monsters. You can pay 500 life points to special summon, to normal summon a Chronomaly monster from your hand. So with this, it's basically a double summon. It's a double summon. So if you normal summon, I think if you're able to if you had already performed your normal summon, you can pay the 500 points to normal summon again. So it's basically a double summon, but for the Chronomaly deck. If your Chronomaly exceeds monster or number exceeds monster would activate its effects by detaching materials, you can send this card to the grave instead of one of those materials. Oh, so it's like its own weird version of Dragon Lords, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Next up, we have Chronomaly Magella Globe. It's a 4-star light machine with 1500 attack, 300 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. You can tribute this card, special summon a Chronomaly monster from your deck, except this card. Plain and simple, not saying anything else about it. If this card is in your grave, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish one Chronomaly card from your grave, except this card. Add this card to your hand. So it's basically a monster reincarnation, basically. God, I'm sick. Yeah, again, it's basically a it's basically a monster reincarnation. They're trying to I guess Konami is trying to revive the Chronomaly archetype, but I don't think Chronomalies are going to be that good, in my honest opinion. Given how excuse me, given the fact that Chronomalies barely did anything when the archetype was announced back in the day, I highly doubt that the archetype will ever come back. If it does come back, I'll be surprised, but you never know. You never know. But with this, it's basically a monster reincarnation with a mix of I guess maybe Mass Hero Diane, I guess, because with Diane you can special summon with Diane. You can special summon a hero from your deck, but you would have to destroy one of your opponent's monsters by battle with that card. This card is basically similar, but instead of destroying cards, you have to tribute this card instead, which is not too bad, not too bad. Next up, we have Chronomaly, a Combato figure. It's a 5-star Earth Rock with 1,000 attack, 1,800 defense. Both of its effects are once per turn. If a Chronomaly monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can discard this card instead. So again, it's basically another form of it's basically another form of Dragon Lords, but instead of banishing cards from the grave, you're discarding this card. So it's basically a hand trap, which that's a pretty cool effect. That's a pretty cool effect. I wouldn't really say that this is a broken card, but still it's a pretty decent card. I would, if I was to build Chronomalies, I would probably put this card at maybe 2, just because of what its second effect says, which says if this card is in your grave, you can pay 1,000 points, special summon this card, but return it to the hand during the end phase. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect, except Chronomaly. So you're basically so with this. So with this, you're basically locked out of summoning any other monsters except Chronomalies. But if you're building a pure build, if you're playing a pure Chronomaly deck with no added packages, other than maybe artifacts, then yeah, I would definitely put this card at 3, but honestly, I would just put it at 2 if I was playing Chronomalies, in my honest opinion. Next up, we have the Xyz monster. We have Chronomaly Vimana. Yeah, Chronomaly Vimana, which is a light machine Xyz, rank 5. 2,300 attack, 2,600 defense, 2 level 5 minor monsters it requires, and it has 2 effects. Once per turn, and actually they're both quick effects. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target a face-up monster on the field, and 1 Chronomaly monster or Xyz monster in your grave. The first target gains attack equal to half the second target until the end of the turn. Then attach the second to this card's material. Okay, so you're basically you can target something like Chronomaly and I'll say Chronomaly and Landis, and so with this effect you target a card like Chronomaly and Landis, that and Landis gains the attack equal to I'll say Machumech in your graveyard. Machumech's in the grave. It gains Machumech's attack added to Atlantis' own attack, and then Machumech gets attached to Vimana as material, which that's a pretty good effect. Being able to add more, being able to add more materials to Vimana actually helps the second effect, which says once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect as a quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card and negate the activation. So it's like it's basically its own imperm, like its own imperm, which is a really good effect. The only downside to it though is the fact that because you're adding cards, to the hand or to the field. Excuse me. You can easily get hand trapped like that. So I would steer clear of that. I would try to steer clear of it. I would say maybe use maybe definitely add artifacts, like I think, was it Lancia or something like that? Maybe Scythe? I don't know, somewhere around there. And then the last one, we actually have a normal trap, which is called Chronomaly Esperanza Glyph. It's a normal trap, and you can only use the effect once per turn. During the main phase, target one Xyz monster you control or in your graveyard. Special summon 2 Chronomaly monsters from your hand, deck, and or graveyard that are one level higher than that monster card's rank, but their effects are negated, and if you do immediately after this effect resolves, Xyz summon 1 Chronomaly Xyz monster using only those 2 monsters. So if you target a rank 5, you can go into something like Chronomaly Atlantis, which I think Atlantis is a rank 6, if I remember right. I'll have to look. Let me take a look. Hang on, guys. In fact, I think Atlantis is a rank 6, isn't it? Yes, it is. It is a rank 6. I thought so. So if you target a rank 5, like I think Machu Mech, let me see. Let's see. Number 33, Chronomaly Machu Mech. So I believe Machu Mech is a rank 5, if I remember right. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, so if you target Machu Mech in your graveyard, you can summon two level 6 monsters, and then use those 2 to summon number 6 Chronomaly Atlantis. So it's a pretty cool effect. That's a pretty cool effect. This is one card that I would definitely put as a 3 of. I've been actually tempted to build Chronomalys using the new cards, but I honestly don't know. And my laptop's being stupid. I don't know if it'll be viable. I would have to take a look. But yeah, that's a pretty cool effect, actually. Next up, we have a new pendulum monster. We have, what's it called? We have Antagonistic Intelligence Muscetia. What in the hell? What the fuck is up with that name? That is a weird-ass motherfucking name. Jesus Christ. It's a level 8 Light Cyber's Pendulum with 2500 attack, 3000 defense, and a pendulum skill of 0. And its pendulum effect says any non-monster card sent to the grave is banished instead. So, pretty much, I guess, spells and traps basically are banished. I don't know. This is a weird... That's a weird-ass effect. Like, the weirdest effect I had ever heard. But its monster effect says that you can use the first effect once per turn. You can reveal this card in your hand, add one other pendulum monster from your hand, or a card from your pendulum zone to the extra deck face up. And if you do, special summon this card. Okay, so I guess, hold on. Reveal this card in your hand, add one other pendulum monster from your hand. Oh, okay. So you're basically able. Oh, okay. So you can. To special summon this card, you have to either reveal it. You have to reveal the card from in your hand, and then you can either add a pendulum monster from your hand or from your pendulum zone. Put it face up in the extra, and then okay. Now I understand. So it's basically a Cyber Dragon, but with a cost, basically. So it's fairly decent. This would probably be a one of just because of how how many resources you would need to use actually both effects. Actually, if another monster or monster is normal or special summon while this card is in the monster zone, activate this effect. Send that monster or monsters to the grave during the end phase of the turn. Yeah, so with the first effect, you would probably just need it as a one of, just because of the fact that you'll end up using a lot of your resources, and this would probably be the last card you would end up playing in the Pendulum deck. Again, I've never worked with pendulums before, so I wouldn't know. Maybe Triff Gaming would know about it. Who knows? But yeah, who knows? Anyway, so the next card here we have Grand Arumachor Muscetia, which is another one of the Link monsters to the archetype. It's a Link 2 Light Fairy with 1900 attack, and its Link arrows are bottom left, bottom right, and requires 2 Pendulum monsters. Both of its effects are once per turn. During your main phase, you can add 1 Pendulum monster from your hand to your extra deck face up, and if you do, add a face up Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand with an odd pendulum scale. If the first monster had an even pendulum scale, or with an even pendulum scale, if the first monster had an odd pendulum scale. That is confusing. That is confusing. So, let me try and read that again. During your main phase, you can add 1 pendulum monster from your hand to your extra deck. Face up. Okay. That I get. So basically, you take a card from you just take a card from your hand, put it into the extra deck, face up. If you do, add a face up pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand with an odd pendulum scale. Okay, so I guess you can be okay. I think I get it. Again, I've never worked with pendulums before. That is like the weirdest effect ever. Second effect says when you pendulum summon a doremichord monster or monsters, you can target one of them, add 1 doremichord pendulum monster with a level equal to the targeted monster's pendulum scale from your deck to your hand. So basically, it's a Stratos. It's basically a Stratos. That effect is a Stratos, which is a pretty cool effect, but that first effect, way too fucking confusing. Now we have a brand new Gusto card. I don't know why Gustos are coming back. That's like the weirdest archetype ever. We actually have quite a few. We actually have 1, 2, 3 new Gustos. So first up we have Gusto Vector. Hang on, alright. Yeah, alright, so 3. So we have Gusto Vector. Vether. Is it? I probably butchered that name. It's a 3-star winged beast tuner with 600 attack and 1000 defense. Both of its effects are once per turn. If a face-up Gusto monster or monster is destroyed by battle or sent to your grave, and this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card. So it's basically monster spam. It's basically wind black wings, basically, which is that simple. It's that simple. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send one Gusto monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then special summon a Gusto monster from your hand. So it's a Foolish Burial Cyber Dragon. That's it. That's it. Just that is it. That is it right there. Next up, we have the Synchro. We have a brand new Synchro for them. Digusto Raprempilica. That is a weird ass name. It's a 6-star wind psychic synchro and nobody knows its attack and defense. That's odd. We do know its effect, though. It's, oh, hold on, here's the note. As a side note, most of the information on this card had to be patched together because Konami screwed up and didn't show the actual artwork or full effect text on screen. Oh, okay, now I understand. Now I understand why. Okay. So it requires a tuner and a non-tuner gusto, so it's not generic. Unless if you added unless if you added you know, a gusto package, then maybe it would be generic. You can only special summon Daigusto Reprempilica once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except wind monsters. Also, special summon 2 gusto monsters, one each from your hand and deck, but their effects are negated. And if you do immediately after this card resolves, synchro summon one gusto synchro using only those 2 monsters. So it's kind of like a Chronomaly Vimenma, Vimena, I believe it's pronounced. It's basically like it's basically that effect, which is a really good effect, or I guess the trap card basically, which it's a really good effect. It is a really good effect. You're able to not only summon this, but take the tuner monster that you used to summon this card and another gusto from your deck, special summon them, and then just tune them off into another synchro, which that's a pretty cool effect. Next up we have Gusto Tailwind, which is an equip spell. Equip only to a gusto monster. You can only use this card's name second and third effects once per turn each. The first effect says the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effect. That's pretty busted. During your main phase, you can activate one of these effects based on the equipped monster's level or rank. 4 or lower, special summon a gusto monster with a different type from your deck. 5 or higher, special summon a level 1 tuner from your deck. Wow, so it doesn't matter what the level or the rank is. Either way, you're summoning monsters and you're able to go into even more synchro plays, being able to link them off, summon something like Borrelsaur and then resummon them back, which is a pretty cool effect. Third effect says you can banish this card from your grave, then target a wind monster, add a gusto spell or trap from your deck to your hand. That's a pretty cool effect. This is probably a 2 of, just because you don't want to over. Just because that Gustos is basically Black Wings, you don't want to overcommit because you can easily get Nibiru turn 1, which that's pretty crazy. That's a pretty crazy as effect. Next up we have Protector Spirit. What the fuck? What in the hell? Protector Spirit Logeth? I don't even know how to pronounce that. Loagaeth. I don't know how that's spelled. I don't even know how that's pronounced. But it's a 7-star light fairy with 2400 attack and 2100 defense. You can only use this card's names first and second effects once per turn. If a fairy monster you control activates its effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, you activate Honest, which is a fairy. Boom. You summon that. You summon this card. Plain simple. You can target a face-up card your opponent controls and one attack position monster you control. Banish the first target, which is obviously the card that your opponent controls, and if you do, change the second target, which is your monster, to defense. Okay, so it's basically it's basically a it's a bottomless trap hole, 0 gravity, I guess, where you're switching your monsters from attack to defense or vice versa, which is a pretty cool effect. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a monster on the field. It cannot be destroyed by battle during this turn. So it's basically a protection. It's a protection card that prevents your monster from being destroyed in battle, which that's a pretty good effect, I would say. But of course, there are some other cards that I want to talk about in this video. And we actually have some more Abyss cards. Crazy enough. Some brand new Abyss support. Which is only like 3 cards actually. So, first up we have Black-clad Dragon Albion. Which is a... Wait, hang on. Was that Abyss? Or was that... Hang on, guys. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so it's called Black-clad Dragon Albion. Which is an 8-star Dark Dragon with 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense, and its second effect is a once per turn. This card's name becomes Fallen Of Albaz while on the field or in the graveyard. So it's basically another form of Cyber Dragon where a lot of the lower level Cyber Dragon monsters has the effect where it says this card becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, that's really good if you're going for a fusion that requires Fallen of Albaz as the material. This card actually becomes Albaz, and you're able to use him as the fusion material instead of Fallen of Albaz himself. If this card is in your hand or in the graveyard, you can send 1 Fallen of Albaz or 1 Stigmatica spell or trap from your hand or deck to the grave. Applies this effect based on where that card was sent from. If it was the hand, special summon this card. Deck, place this card at the bottom of the deck. Then if this card was placed from the hand, draw 1 card. Okay, so you would normally want to do it from the hand, where you can special summon it, where you can summon this card and then be able to just go into the fusion itself, which that's a good effect. As a side note, the card's second effect is probably influenced by its name. I don't know. Maybe Black-clad? I would say Black-clad, which is a term in Kabuki to refer to a stagehead who is dressed in black as to avoid drawing too much attention during the play. Oh, that's a pretty cool side note there. Next up we have Bond of Stigmatica, which is a normal spell. You can only use each effect of this card's name per turn. Special summon one of your Fallen of Albaz that is banished or in your hands or graveyard. So if you special summon it that was banished, it's basically a DDR, different dimension reincarnation, where you can summon from the banished pile and onto the field. But you can also use it as a monster reborn as well, which that's a pretty broken ass effect. During the end phase of this card is in your grave, because it was sent there this turn, to activate the effect of Fallen of Albaz, you can set this card. Holy shit. So you're able to just use the effect over and over and over again per turn. That's like fucking broken. That is fucking broken. And then last but not least, we have Spriggans Interluder, which is a continuous trap. So both of its effects are once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect, return 1 Spriggans Xyz monster you control to the extra deck, then apply one of these effects. Either negate the activated effect, or special summon a level 8 monster from your graveyard. So with that effect, you normally would want to summon from the graveyard, so you can use the monster as fusion material to go into one of your big beaters. Second effect, if a face-up Xyz monster you control leaves the field by card effect, You can make all face-up monsters your opponent controls lose 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. That right there is really good, especially if you're attempting to go for game. That could really help you out. Really help you out. We actually have 1, 2. We have 2 more cards to talk about in this video, and this first one is Swordmaster of the Bewitching Iris. That right there is a pretty cool name. That's a pretty cool name. Is there a side note for that one? No, there is not. I thought it was something else. I thought there was a side note. Swordmaster of the Bewitching Iris. It's a spell. It's a light attribute 8-star spellcaster with 2,500 attack and defense. Actually, that's pretty cool. Both of its effects are once per turn. During the main phase, if a monster whose effects are negated is on the field, as a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, so basically, again, it's another form of Cyber Dragon. There's so many of these different archetypes that have the effect of Cyber Dragon, but with a cost. This one needs to have a cost, which is obviously a monster who has their effects negated. So whether it's yours or your opponent's, it doesn't matter. You can summon this card right off the bat from your hand. So if you activate Imperm on something like, say, Borload Savage Dragon, you can just automatically negate Savage Dragon's effect and then summon this card from your hand, and then be able to use the second effect during your opponent's turn when they special summon a monster, which is really good. Which, obviously, the effect says if your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, you can activate one of these effects based on where they were special summoned from. So from the hand, special summon one monster from your hand. Plain simple. Deck, draw 2 cards. Extra deck, destroy one of those monsters, special summon from the extra deck. Okay, so you can either so you can either trap hole one of your opponent's monsters from the extra deck. You can Cyber Dragon a monster from your hand, or you can Pot of Greed, which draw 2 cards. Plain simple. Plain simple. I swear, do not get me wrong, I love memes just as much as the next guy, but the Pot of Greed memes are just getting way too old for me. That's a pretty cool effect, but the big downside to it though is that if you were to activate the Pot of Greed effect, you would have to be careful with Ash Blossom, because Ash Blossom is pretty brutal. It's a pretty brutal card. And then I believe this is the last one to talk about here. We have Live Twin Trouble Sun, which is a continuous spell. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. When this card resolves, you can add 1 Live Twin monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, so you're just basically able to just Rhoda a Live Twin from your deck to your hand, basically, which is simple, plain simple. Each time your opponent normal or special summons a monster while you control an Evil Twin monster, gain 200 life points, and if you do, inflict 200 life points of damage to your opponent. So with the damage, it's one for one. You gain 200 life points. Your opponent takes 200 points worth of damage, which that's pretty broken actually. That is pretty broken. So if you were to have Evil Twin, Kisa Kill, or whatever, that's pretty broken. So your opponent would have to find an out to it in order to prevent them from being dealt damage. If they have no outs to it, then they're pretty much screwed, and they would have no choice but to overcommit to their board, and they'll be taking potentially up to 2,000 damage at best, depending on the deck that your opponent is playing. But I believe that's all the cards that we had in this video, if I remember right. Yes, I believe that is everything. So guys, that is going to do it for this video. Hang on guys, let me see if there was anything else. I guess that's it. Alright, you guys. That is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. Before I forget, question of the day: What are you guys' thoughts on the new Chronomaly support? And do you think, and will the Chronomaly deck become meta once again? Let me know in the comments below. And that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button if you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more Yu-Gi-Oh news videos, which will now get posted every Tuesday because of the schedule change with NXT moving over to Tuesdays now. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All three of my links, my 2 Twitters and my 1 Instagram, the links are down in the description. And if you guys have any fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.